she know I'm the man like. Okay. She know I'm the man like. Yeah, let's go. She know I'm the. Okay. She know I'm the man like. The most famous unsolved murders in the world. Spooky. And it's about to be spooky season. So all you niggas can dress up as somebody else. Let's check it out.
Jack the Ripper. On August 31st,
I heard of this dude before.
In the Whitechapel district of London, police discovered the body of Mary Ann Nichols in Bucks Row. Her throat had been slashed and her abdomen mutilated. Just a week later, on September 8th, Annie Chapman was found dead in a backyard, killed in a similar manner. Newspapers quickly realized the crimes might be connected. By the end of that autumn, 5 women, Nichols, Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly, had been murdered within a short distance of each other. All were prostitutes living in the poverty-stricken East End. The killer, who came to be known as Jack the Ripper, displayed escalating brutality, leaving victims with deep throat wounds and abdominal mutilations. In some cases, organs had been removed. Letters sent to London newspapers, some written in red ink and signed Jack the Ripper, taunted police and the public.
That's crazy.
Although their authenticity remains debated,
bro said no more.
Stuck and became
bro said no more prostitution, bro. We're done with that, bro. Literally, bro.
With the killings. Despite intense investigation by Scotland Yard, the murderer was never identified. Suspects ranged from local butchers to doctors and even members of the British upper class. The case captivated the press, making Jack the Ripper one of the first killers to gain worldwide notoriety. More than 135 years later, the murders remain unsolved, and theories about the Ripper's true identity continue to circulate among historians and criminologists. The Black Dahlia. On January 15,
the Black Dahlia.
The body of 22-year-old Elizabeth Short was discovered in a vacant lot in Los Angeles. A mother walking with her child noticed what she thought was a discarded mannequin. On closer inspection, it was a corpse, severed cleanly at the waist. Short's body...
Damn, bro, you know how hard it is to, like, sever a whole body, like... Bro, that's a lot of work, bro. Imagine, like, what butchers got to do without the machinery, bro. Like, that's a lot of, like, arm work. If you got a butcher machine, that's crazy.
Her face was slashed from the corners of her mouth toward her ears, creating what became known as a Glasgow smile. The corpse was drained of blood, scrubbed, and left naked on the ground.
That is insane.
Officers and reporters arriving at the scene were horrified by the brutality. Elizabeth Short was an aspiring actress who had moved from Massachusetts to California in hopes of finding work in Hollywood. Her striking looks and dark hair led the press to nickname her the Black Dahlia, referencing the movie The Blue Dahlia that had recently been released. The investigation became one of the largest in Los Angeles history. Hundreds of suspects were questioned, and dozens of false confessions were received. Several individuals, including doctors and men from Short's social circle, emerged as possible suspects, but none could be definitively linked to the crime. Media coverage sensationalized the case, blending fact and rumor, and the murder quickly entered popular culture.
That's crazy.
Films, books, and television shows revisited the story for decades.
Bro, they just trying to catch a check real quick. That one's recent. I Am the Night. That's some recent shit.
The Zodiac Killer.
I heard of this dude, definitely.
1968, high school students Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday were shot while parked on Lake Herman Road near Vallejo, California.
Goodness.
7 months later, another couple, Darlene Farron and Michael Mageau, were attacked in a parked car. Mageau survived and described the shooter as a stocky man with glasses. In August 1969, 3 letters arrived at newspapers in San Francisco. Each claimed responsibility for the murders and contained 1/3 of a coded message. The writer demanded the ciphers be published and signed the letters with a circle and cross symbol. Soon after, he began calling himself the Zodiac. Over the next several years, the Zodiac claimed responsibility for multiple murders in Northern California. Some victims, such as cab driver Paul Stein, were confirmed. Others remained disputed. The killer continued to taunt police with letters, ciphers, and threats, including claims he had killed as many as...
Bro, why are these killers so passionate about this stuff? Like, why can't you be passionate towards, like, ending world hunger or something?
37 people. Despite massive investigations...
He killed 37 people?
Including claims he had killed as many as 37 people. Despite massive investigations by local police and the FBI, the Zodiac was never identified.
That's
Dozens of
wild.
suspects emerged. including Arthur Lee Allen, who was heavily investigated but never charged. Amateur and professional cryptographers worked for decades on the Zodiac's puzzles, with some ciphers only solved in recent years. The Zodiac Killer became one of the most infamous criminals in American history, inspiring books, films, and endless series. His true identity remains unknown. JonBenet Ramsey. On December 26, 1996, 6-year-old JonBenet Ramsey was reported missing from her family's home in Boulder, Colorado. Her mother, Patsy Ramsey, called 911 after finding a 2.5-page ransom note demanding $118,000, almost the exact amount of her husband John Ramsey's recent bonus. Police arrived
What?
and searched the house, but they did not find the child. Hours later, John Ramsey himself discovered JonBenet's body in the basement.
Damn.
She had been struck on the head and strangled with a homemade garrote. Duct tape
Ooh,
covered her mouth,
shit.
and her wrists had been bound loosely. From the beginning, the investigation was plagued by errors. The crime scene had been compromised, with friends and family allowed to move through the house before evidence was secured. The ransom note raised suspicion.
Yeah, that messed
It was
up
unusually
everything.
long, written on paper from inside the house, and contained strange phrases. The Ramseys were initially treated as suspects, but no charges were ever filed. Intruder theories also emerged, suggesting someone entered the house during the night, but police never confirmed such a scenario.
But you did, damn, look at her. So you did it, but you didn't receive the money? Niggas just killing for no reason. I mean, killing is bad completely. Let's just get that out the way. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to.
Bridge turned the case into a national obsession. Images of JonBenet in child beauty pageants dominated headlines, fueling speculation and controversy. Decades later, DNA testing has provided clues, but no definitive answers.
Damn.
The murder of JonBenet Ramsey remains one of the most infamous unsolved cases in the United States. The Tylenol murders. On September 29, 1982, 12-year-old Mary Kellerman of Elk Grove Village, Illinois, took a capsule of extra-strength Tylenol for a sore throat. Hours later, she collapsed and died.
Damn, you can't even take Tylenol, my nigga. You can't even, I got a headache, take some Tylenol, my nigga. Damn.
Same morning, Adam Janis of Arlington Heights also died suddenly after taking Tylenol. At his home later that day, his brother Stanley and sister-in-law Teresa both died after using medicine from the same bottle.
Bro, what? Bro, y'all didn't catch the hint? They both took medicine from the same bottle. I don't know if they didn't, know that they did or not, but, damn, bro, you know what I'm saying?
3 more deaths occurred in the Chicago area: Paula Prince, Mary McFarland, and Mary Reiner. Investigators discovered that each victim had ingested Tylenol capsules laced with potassium cyanide.
Damn.
The killer had apparently purchased bottles from local stores, tampered with the capsules, and returned them to the shelves. The discovery triggered nationwide panic. Johnson & Johnson, the manufacturer, issued an immediate recall of
31 million bottles?
costing the company over $100 million.
Bro, wait, when did this take place? Either way, bro, you telling me y'all don't have any receipts or anything about who bought, bottles in a certain area? Or, you have receipts of the person that passed away from where she bought that bottle? I know you don't, just consume Tylenol within, 30 days, but still, y'all gotta have something, bro.
Safety seals and tamper-evident packaging, now standard worldwide, were introduced as a direct result. Despite intensive
That wasn't a thing back then? People be like, I wish I lived in this era. I don't know if you really mean that. I think all of our eras are messed up, bro.
Including hundreds of tips and interrogations, the person responsible was never identified. James W. Lewis was convicted of extortion.
He definitely did it.
Sending a letter demanding money to stop the killings, but he was never charged with the murders themselves.
He looked like he did it.
Murders remain unsolved and stand as one of the most notorious product tampering cases in history. Jill Dando. On April 26, 1999, Jill Dando, one of Britain's best-known television presenters,
that's a crazy name,
shot outside her home in Fulham, London. At around 11:30 a.m., she returned from running errands. As she approached her front door, a man pressed a handgun to her head and fired a single shot. Neighbors found her minutes later.
Damn.
And she was pronounced dead at the hospital. The killing shocked the nation.
Bro, this is scary. I know this is in 1999, but stuff like that, y'all know the situation that happened 3 weeks ago, bro. You ain't safe nowhere, bro. Country club, debates, school. Like, bro, you ain't safe, my nigga. You ain't safe. You gotta be careful out there, bro. You gotta, you know what I'm saying?
Was a household
Gotta tow it
known
at this
for
point.
presenting the BBC program Crime Watch. Her death triggered one of the largest murder investigations in British history, with hundreds of detectives assigned to the case. In 2000,
100?
police arrested Barry George, a local
Oh,
man
he
with a
definitely
history
did
of
it.
stalking women. He was convicted in 2001, but his conviction was overturned in
Bro, look
2008.
at his face, bro. He looked like he want to say, yeah, I did it. I did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he looked like he want to say that, bro. Look at him, bro.
DNA
It's
evidence
always
was
in the
deemed
eyes.
inconclusive. George was acquitted in a retrial, leaving the case officially unsolved. Theories abounded: a contract killing, revenge by a criminal she had exposed on television, or even political motives linked to her charity work with refugees. None were proven. Despite decades of investigation and media coverage, no one has been held responsible for Jill Dando's murder. It remains one of the UK's most infamous unsolved crimes, a case where a high-profile target was killed in broad daylight without leaving a traceable suspect. The
Broad daylight.
Hinterkaifeck murders. On March 31st, 1922, 6 members of the Gruber family were killed on their remote farmstead in Hinterkaifeck, about 70 kilometers
Hinterkaifeck.
north of Munich, Germany. Andreas Gruber, his wife Kazelia, their widowed daughter Victoria, her 2 children, and the family maid were all found brutally murdered with a mattock, a type of
Damn.
farming tool. Days earlier, Andreas had told neighbors he had discovered strange footprints in the snow, leading from the forest to the farmhouse, but none leaving. He also reported hearing footsteps in the attic and finding a newspaper on the property that no one in the household had purchased. The family dismissed these incidents, but they would later gain eerie significance. Investigators concluded that the killer lured family members one by one into the barn, where they were slaughtered. The maid and
How?
young boy were killed inside the house. Despite the savagery, the murderer stayed at the farm for several days, tending to livestock and eating meals from the kitchen before disappearing. The
Bro,
case baffled
what?
police
He did what?
days, tending to the house. One by Despite the savagery, the murderer stayed at the farm for several days, tending to livestock and eating meals from the kitchen before disappearing.
Bro,
The case
what?
baffled police. Numerous suspects, including neighbors and former suitors of Victoria, were investigated, but no one was charged. Evidence deteriorated over time, and crucial files went missing during World War II. The Hinterkaifeck murders remain one of Germany's most chilling unsolved crimes, still debated by historians and true crime enthusiasts a century later. The Villisca Axe Murders. On June 10, 1912, the quiet town of Villisca, Iowa, awoke to a shocking crime. In the home of Josiah and Sarah Moore, 8 people were found murdered. Josiah, Sarah, their 4 children, and 2 visiting girls from the Stillinger family had all been killed with
Oh
an
my
axe during the night.
goodness.
The victims were discovered the next morning by a neighbor after the family failed to appear for daily chores. Inside the house, the scene was horrifying. All occupants had been beaten as they slept. Curtains were drawn,
Ooh.
mirrors covered with cloth, and pieces of clothing draped over the victims' faces. The axe, belonging to Josiah Moore, was left leaning against a bedroom wall. Investigators determined the killer likely waited inside the attic before striking after midnight. Despite interviewing dozens of suspects, including a traveling preacher named George Kelly and State Senator Frank Jones, no one was ever convicted. Trials were held, but juries failed to reach verdicts. The brutality of the crime and lack of resolution
Bro, did they really like get both of them while they were both in bed at the same time? Like, you telling me if that is the case, right? If they did get both of them at the same time, you didn't hear your wife getting smacked up. You didn't hear your husband getting smacked up. Like, what?
and soon the entire nation. Over a century later, the Villisca Axe murders remain unsolved, with theories ranging from local feuds to transient killers riding the railroads. Today, the Moore House is preserved as a museum and attracts paranormal investigators and tourists, cementing its place in American true crime history. The Setagaya family. On December 30th, 2000, in the quiet suburb of Setagaya in Tokyo, Japan,
Tokyo,
the
we got
Miyazawa
one. We got
family
Japan.
was
We got
brutally
Japan.
killed in their home.
It's
Mikio
not
Miyazawa,
funny though.
his wife Yasuko, and their 2 children, 8-year-old Niina and 6-year-old Rei, were discovered dead the following morning by Yasuko's mother, who lived next door. Investigators determined Mikio had been stabbed multiple times at the base
Oh
of the
my
staircase.
goodness.
Yasuko and Niina were killed upstairs, while Rei was strangled in his bedroom. The attacker then remained inside the house for several hours. Evidence showed the killer ate ice cream from the refrigerator, used the family computer, and even took a nap on the sofa before leaving.
Bro,
Police
what? did all that? Bro, so you telling me he didn't have any type of like DNA left on the I mean, I'm pretty sure he's smarter than that, but damn.
Significant forensic evidence, including fingerprints, DNA, and clothing left behind by the suspect. The DNA suggested the killer was male, with mixed East Asian heritage.
Okay.
However, despite following thousands of leads and interviewing countless people, Japanese authorities never identified him. The case shocked Japan not only for its brutality, but also for the sheer amount of evidence seemingly pointing to the murderer.
Nah.
Yet after more than 2 decades,
That was a hit. That was an inside job. No disrespect, but that sounded like an inside job. Like you telling me you got a person that killed the whole fam. He chills in the crib for an hour or two or however long, eat their food, watch their TV, and take a full nap. No DNA, or they had DNA, but it doesn't lead back to anything. No hair follicles on the ground or something.
the identity of the Setagaya killer remains unknown. The Isdal woman. On November 29, 1970, a man hiking with his daughters in the Isdalen Valley near Bergen, Norway, discovered the charred body of a woman.
Oh.
She was lying on a rocky slope, surrounded by burned belongings,
Charred?
including bottles of gasoline and sleeping pills. Nearby were pieces of clothing with all labels removed and fingerprints wiped from objects. The police investigation revealed more mysteries. The woman had used multiple false identities while traveling across Europe in the months before her death. Hotel records showed she frequently checked in under different names, often changing wigs and speaking several languages.
What?
Witnesses remembered her as stylish but secretive. An autopsy indicated she had consumed a large amount of sleeping pills before the fire, but bruises suggested she might not have been alone. The official cause of death was listed as a combination of poisoning and burns. Whether it was suicide, accident, or murder remains disputed.
Sound like
cooperation,
suicide.
her identity was never confirmed. Some investigators suspected she could have been a spy during the Cold War.
That's what it sounded
citing
like.
her odd behavior and the timing of NATO military activity in the region. The case of the Isdal woman remains one of Norway's most enduring mysteries, fueling decades of speculation and investigation, but no answers. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe.
Hey man, that's actually disturbing. I think she did that to herself though, cause the way y'all, you know what I'm saying, she took pills, you know what I'm saying, and I think she just set herself on fire or something. I don't know. She probably set a little fire next to her, and then when she took the pills, she fell asleep or something like that. Damn. Hey, bro, make sure y'all staying safe out here, and if you gotta tote it, if you can tote it like legally, bro, tote it, bro. You gotta be careful, bro. This is proven point. You gotta be careful. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, bitch ass nigga.